Do you know, or have you ever thought, that the difference between this life and eternity means that this life is probably inexistent? Yeah, you heard me right. The difference between the duration of this life compared to eternity, or also called forever and ever, when you divide or you speak to a mathematician and you check with him or her and ask them to calculate the comparison between this life, even if you had 1,000,000 years of lifetime on this earth, and compared to a forever that has been promised to those who follow any religion, those who follow God and obey God, that life is actually forever and ever, and this lifetime compared to that is inexistent. So, who in the right state of mind would jeopardize or risk the eternal life over this inexistent life? And such indications we also find in ahadith. In fact, in the Quran itself, there is a scenario narrated in which people, when they're gathered on the Day of Judgment, they will be talking to each other, asking, how long exactly did you live on the earth? And one of them would say a day, and the other one, who seemingly would be better in calculation, would say, nah, just a part of it, not even a day, just a part of it. So, what do we learn from this? We learn that indeed life on earth, this life, this lifetime of any human being, be it a day, 100 days, 100 years, 1,000 years, 100,000 years, 1,000,000 years, as compared to eternity, as compared to forever and ever, it is inexistent. Now, why would you or I, why would our children, why would our families, why would our friends, or anybody who has some sense, why would they participate in such a big gamble that they would risk losing that forever and ever life over this life? Because that forever and ever life doesn't have any problems. That doesn't have any problems at all. It only has luxury, it only has indulgence in luxury, it only has parties, it only has food. It has, like, you would have no headache over there, you'd have no pain, no aches. You can eat all you want and never get fat. And you'd have the best possible clothes. There's no dopamine depletion over there. There's absolutely no negativity. So, why would anybody lose such a beautiful life over this lie? That is life. This is a lie. That eternal life, that is the life. And this life is a big lie. So, why don't we stick to God and don't follow our desires and don't follow the devil, the shaitan, in this inexistent life? And why don't we patiently prepare for the eternal life that has been promised to those who sincerely call upon their Lord and who sincerely work for it? The eternal life of forever and ever, the eternal life of peace and fun and luxury and indulgence and happiness and no troubles whatsoever, the eternal life of no negativity, the eternal fun-filled life of partying and having fun, and it's just indescribable. It's so much fun. And how do we know it? We know it because God has promised us. And God has told us to look around us. How many things, how many millions and millions of things, food, flavors, colors, dresses, fabrics, everything. How many things, oh my God, how many things God has created for human beings. And that God has promised us so much more in paradise, which is eternal, which is, by the way, forever and ever. And again, if you calculate, if you compare forever with 100,000, 1,000,000, 1,000,000, you compare forever with it. You compare an infinity with any number, unless it's infinite. You compare any number, the biggest number in this world, with forever, it's going to be inexistent. It's going to be a near zero. So why should we throw away our forever happily ever afters over this dunya? Why should we throw away our happily ever after over this dunya? Because the real happily ever after is Jannah. The true happily ever after is not the Disney definition of happily ever after. They have Disney movies with happily ever afters in which there's witchcraft and there's a lot of, crying and cheating and jealousy and deception. And right in the end, they show that just for, a couple of years, somebody has a happily ever after. That's not happily ever after. Are you kidding me? That's not happily ever after. So the real happily ever after is the eternal life, because that is happily ever after. That is infinity. That is forever. So who are we kidding? Who are we kidding again? We are kidding ourselves. We are fooling ourselves. We are fooling nobody else. We have been told, we know the way we know the difference between sugar and salt. Just like we know the difference between sugar and salt, we know the difference between this life and eternity. And don't tell me that we don't know. Anyone in the right mind knows the difference between this life and eternity. So let's stop messing around, let's stop fooling around, and let's get serious. Let's become serious contenders for the happily ever after in Jannah, inshallah.